History has taught us that the most powerful among all men is the ruler or the emperor, the king who rules the state. If we think of our body as the kingdom, then the most powerful of all will be none other than the brain. Well, it's been too long since man has realized the importance of brain as the governing center of the body. It's not only capable of taking decisions, but even gets them implemented by ordering and guiding various organs. Does all the processes in the body work efficiently? Let's dive deeper into this small wonder and understand it better. If we glance at the embryonic stage, then we probably understand how exactly the brain develops and what components make up the brain actually. So this is a small tube, also called the neural tube, which is going to be the brain in the future. In the beginning of the embryonic development, the frontal part of the tube starts stretching itself, dividing into 3 major chambers. The frontmost is going to be the forebrain, the middle develops later as the midbrain, and the last chamber as the hindbrain. Yes, the forebrain, the midbrain, and the hindbrain. Scientifically, we name them as prosencephalon, mesencephalon, and rhombencephalon respectively. By the 5th week of embryonic development, these chambers divide into more vesicles that are further going to form the fully developed structure of the brain. Now, this portion that develops as the forebrain is actually responsible for carrying out all the activities that you know of. Like thinking about your favorite food, planning the next vacation, talking, listening to your favorite music, and so on. All these activities are carried out by the cerebrum, which develops from the anterior part of the forebrain. The cerebrum is remarkably marked by these folds called the gyri, which are the upward protrusions, and the sulci, which are the depressions in between. Why does it have a structure like this? The structure of the folds help to increase the surface area. Also, the last part of the forebrain, called the diencephalon, constitutes the thalamus, epithalamus, and the hypothalamus. What are their functions? Thalamus is responsible for relaying many sensory and motor signals, along with regulating important activities like consciousness, sleep, and alertness. If something goes wrong with this part of the brain, then the sensory information would not be processed and it would result in sensory confusion. Next is the epithalamus, the major functions of which include controlling emotions, secreting melatonin, and it also participates in controlling the secretions of the pituitary gland. Lastly, let's talk about the hypothalamus, which is the connecting bridge between the nervous system and the hormonal system. It does so with the help of the pituitary gland placed just below it. Not only this, but the hypothalamus is also responsible for controlling behavioral patterns, hunger, thirst, body temperature, and fatigue. After the forebrain comes the midbrain. This region is responsible for higher level activities like sudden reflexes. So for example, when you just hear your name unexpectedly from behind, you turn immediately. It's your midbrain that indicates you to do so. Lastly, let's talk about the hindbrain, the posterior part which continues down as the spinal cord. The hindbrain along with the midbrain is called as the brainstem. The hindbrain is composed of 3 major parts: cerebellum, pons varolii, and the medulla oblongata. Among these, the cerebellum, which is also called the little brain, is responsible for major activities like maintaining the balanced state of the body, maintaining body posture, and most importantly, the body's equilibrium. Then comes the pons varolii, which consists of fibers that help in interconnecting the various areas of the brain. Lastly, we have the medulla oblongata, which contains various centers. These include the cardiac, vasomotor, respiratory center, etc. Thus, the medulla oblongata is responsible for controlling the autonomic activities like heart rate, blood pressure, breathing, release of gastric secretions, and so on. Getting back to the structure of the entire brain, we find that the cerebrum, which covers almost the entire surface, appears to be like two walnut-shaped hemispheres joined together. Now, these two hemispheres are basically divided by this fissure. A fissure is nothing but a split which divides two regions. But wait, if the two are separate hemispheres, then how do they talk to each other? Well, the communication is brought about by a bridge made up of myelinated axons and fibers. This strip of fibers is called the corpus callosum. Now just imagine that there is one particular signal that reaches the brain. How does this signal know where to travel next? It won't, right? To fix this problem, the brain itself has designated a strategy. It has divided the structure of the cerebrum into different lobes. So what are these lobes? That's what we will cover in the next part of this video.